When your customer's not happy, they ain't paying. The Two Business Guys Mastermind on how to turn your customer experience into income for your business. Enjoy. This business podcast, the Two Business Guys Mastermind, uncovers for you secrets and share tips and tricks to entrepreneurship as they mastermind on how to have startup, operational, and overall business success so that you can go on to get better results. Enjoy. Before we get going, let's hear from our sponsor, Malamaya Juice Bar. Malamaya Juice Bar, the only place you can get juice that makes you feel like jamming. Take a look. This is your favorite podcast host, Randy O. And I don't know about you, but this is how I feel when I take a sip of Malamaya juice. To get your juice that makes you feel like jamming, go to malamayajuicebar.com. I hope you enjoyed our sponsor's commercial. Now, let's get back to the show.
Tip everybody out.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. The Two Business Guys are masterminding on something that, as Rob just reminded me, entrepreneurs suck at. Right. And it's called different things depending on what business you're doing. Rob, hey, welcome, man. I am appreciative of you. You've been on a little bit of a trip, but this subject matter is how to turn your customer service into income for your business, right? So it's the whole idea that entrepreneurs stink at customer service. Right now, It's called also customer journey. Right? User journey, depending on what they're using, the customer experience, the digital customer experience. And we can go into this thing a lot of different ways. But Rob, what is happening with entrepreneurs and sucking at customer service?
Well, it's interesting when you look at it, because most entrepreneurs don't think that they're struggling with customer service, but a lot of that is because we don't do the number one thing that we need to do to know whether we're good at something, which is feedback. You just mentioned I was traveling and I was working with one of my customers, and we were doing a retreat for their leadership team. And one of the things that we talk about so much, that I talk to businesses about of all sizes, is that most people don't understand that communication is not just transmitting information. One of the reasons why you hear Randy and I always ask you all, put in the comments any questions that you have, anything that doesn't make sense. Go ahead, give us a thumbs up, give us a like if you understand this, if you don't understand that, is because what we're doing right now is transmitting information to you. But that's not communication. That's just the first part of it. There's a second part of it, which is to receive feedback that confirms that what you were actually trying to communicate was communicated. Until you have that feedback, you don't know that you've communicated. You don't know that communication is taking place. And so many business owners don't have a feedback system that lets them know what the user experience, what the customer journey and customer experience actually looks like, and whether or not their customers are getting what the customer wants. We know that you're giving them something, but the question is, are they picking up what you're putting down, if you would? Are they receiving what you're giving? And so many of the entrepreneurs that we work with and that we coach come into this situation not understanding why people don't buy from them again, not understanding why they have such a hard time finding referral clients and finding, repeat buyers. And a lot of it has to do with the customer experience with your business, right? And there's a concept, and I just said it a little bit ago. There's a concept of a customer journey that most people don't even understand or don't even know, right? The idea of A customer isn't just a transaction, but there's an entire journey that they take in working with you that is supposed to give them a certain level of experience that makes them want to take that journey with you multiple times, right? There's a book by Ken Blanchard in here. Let me see if I got it here in my, yep, here we go. The book is Raving Fans. I recommend that every entrepreneur go reads this book. It's by Ken Blanchard and Sheldon Bowles. And it is a phenomenal book that'll help you to understand how to make your customers, not just people that have bought your product, but as the book says, raving fans, because what raving fans do is they go tell everybody.
That's right.
Right. And so most entrepreneurs don't understand how to make that happen. And more importantly, and it's not because you don't care. It's because, we got the hustle and the bustle and the grind of running a business. You got so many things. You're trying to find the next customer. You're trying to find this. You're trying to find that. And so many customers or so many business owners are stuck in hustle mode. Right. And we talk about this all the time with the entrepreneurs that we coach in that E-Myth mode of being a technician. That they never get to work on the business because they're so stuck in the business. So I think that's one of the big things that I've noticed is just that there's so much hustle and bustle. There's so much focus on what we do that we don't even get any chance to focus on how we do it. And because of the fact that there aren't, generally, unless somebody's saying something negative, we're not getting feedback. So we're just working in this vacuum of, I think I'm doing a good job.
Yeah. It's like going out and asking for, hey, what's wrong? What did we do wrong? How can we make it better? Right? These kind of things begins that customer journey and ends that customer journey. And one of the key things and key considerations is, how can you now then turn that customer experience, that user experience, into income for your business? I mean, that's ultimately what we're concerned about and what we want to really mastermind on and dig into, right? The idea that you've got to remove friction from the process. Now, it's one of the things I look at when I'm going to a business. I go, whether it is online, I go, that was so hard to buy that book. Yes. I can't believe it.
Why are you making it so hard for me to give you my money?
I want to give you my cash, right? And then another thing is, when you think about people that have really reduced out the friction, you think about the Amazons, those small little buttons that say, buy now, buy with one click. These are friction removers, which enhances the customer experience. And then they allow you that if you got, because I'm in the digital space, right? They say, hey, if you want to use our button, you can. Now you got to pay us for that. But when people see the button, they have a feeling that this customer experience, right, this user experience is going to be great. The customer service you're going to give, I believe, is going to be Amazon-like. Because, and then they allow you, of course, to use their button, as that factor, that unknown factor or trust factor, where people go, I think this is going to be a pretty good experience. If they'll let them use that button, it must be okay. So, but I think, to your point, I have been really taking a look at this deeply, simply because we've become so automated. Even in the E-Myth that we like to reference a lot, he talks about, hey, we got to get to the point of automation, right? Well, then if we get to that point of automation too much, where you really want to talk to somebody. And I get on those bots, man. I'm like, look, that's fine, but you're asking me the same question. I don't want a bot right now. And it just spoils my user experience. I'll give you an example. Just last night, I was at a restaurant, and, we sit, we get seated, and, the waiter, he didn't come over for a little while, didn't ask us if we wanted water, so now get this. It was my first time at this new restaurant. By the time I got done with everything, and even at the end, they came and said, because it took so long, we want to give you a dessert on us. Now, I was kind of going, is that it? I didn't complain. Here's the thing, everyone. People won't complain. They'll just not come back.
That's the key.
And word of mouth, I'm telling you, although they keep talking about how word of mouth can't scale, you can't scale word of mouth. Word of mouth is huge when it comes to people saying, hey, how was that? How did you like that movie? How did you like that product that you bought there? You know what I mean? And then someone says, man, it was terrible. I'll give you an example with this restaurant. I'm not going back.
Right.
I'm not going back to a restaurant that sits me down, ignores me, brings me the food out. It's hard. Right. And then, and of course, my wife is like, oh, I can't believe you're not going to give them another shot. I said, these are my dollars.
Yes.
I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to call them over and give me the manager, not doing all that stuff. I'm just not going back. Now, that's a brand new restaurant that has lost me as a customer on the first time.
Yep.
So,
and what's like? really interesting about that story, right? You dropped a couple nuggets, and I wanted to peel those back for a second, because something that a lot of people don't pay as much attention to is the power of word of mouth advertising, right? And so when you peel this back, and we were talking a lot about customer journey, right? Like there's a couple of different stages of the customer journey, and oftentimes they're taught out of context. They're not taught in the customer journey experience, right? They're not taught from the lens of how does the customer move through your business. They're taught in the lens of sales and marketing. They're taught in the lens of engagement ladders. They're taught in the lens of, right? Most of it is thought about from the perspective of how do you get your message out and make sure your message gets seen. But something I want to kind of unpack about what you just talked about was how powerful word of mouth advertising is and why it's that way, right? So first of all, when we break down the customer journey, customers go from not knowing about you to knowing something about you that seems interesting to them, to wanting to know more about you, to actually trusting you enough to think about buying from you, to buying from you, to then deciding whether they're ever going to buy from you again.
Yes.
Right. Those are and if they decide to buy from you again, right, that pivotal moment is where that word of mouth advertising comes from. Because if they have such an experience that they're not only willing to buy from you again, but they're also willing to tell others about you, all of that work that you had to do in the front end of the customer journey, which was piquing someone's interest and getting them to know more about you and getting them to trust you, all of that is done by the customer. That takes away all of the budget that you have to run on ads, all of the budgeting that you have to do on sales calls, all the budgeting that you have to do, and the time that you have to do to build that and trust factor.
That's it.
And it's such a pivotal point that some of the easiest sales I have ever made have been sales that my customers made for me. I have had calls to me where the potential customer on the phone is explaining to me why I am the best service for them and telling me that they're going to be my next customer and just basically asking how can they give me their money.
Yeah, man, I tell you, when you've got that kind of irresistible offer, right? We've heard that term before, irresistible offer. Your customer care and your customer service experience is working, right? And people say, oh yeah, I've heard about you. Oh, you did? All right. And then they're smiling. Then you know that your customer has come on a journey, right? And this is kind of what I was listening to the guys over there at HubSpot, right? They, the two co-founders always talk about their type of marketing, and they don't like to look at it like a funnel, right? They like to look at it like a flywheel. And in the middle of the flywheel, you got the customer experience, right? That customer's journey. What are they doing once they come into it? And then they use, instead of outbound marketing, they use inbound marketing, right? They want you to come in so they can delight you, so that you jump on that flywheel. Their experience is like energy, right? That energy keeps moving and spewing off more cash. That's their approach, right? So when we wanted to talk about this particular subject matter, is because we know you're out there doing your thing. And it doesn't matter if you're a startup. It doesn't matter if you're that small business, that you're working from home. It doesn't matter if you're a a mid-sized business, if
Mm-hmm.
your customer care and your customer service positions or whatever are stinking up the joint, you're
Mm-hmm.
losing people and you don't
Exactly.
even know it. It's one of
That's the
those
big
almost
key.
immeasurable things, right? It's almost immeasurable, but you got some companies that say, hey, we pay bonuses based on how we have determined our customers have been taken care of.
Yep.
Well,
Retention rates.
and this kind of brings to mind a book that I just started reading called Upstream by Dan Heath, right? I
Mm.
think he's related to Rob Heath. But anyway,
Nah.
but Dan Heath is talking about that. He says, and he's using the metaphor of upstream, downstream, right? He says, well, if you could prevent things from happening, then you're not reacting. He says, and it's hard to
Anticipatory thinking.
measure at what upstream that I prevented a thing. In other words, a customer may have come into your business, you prevented them from leaving and talking, smack about you because of something you did, somehow that you were able to solve a situation for them, a problem, whatever it is, you did it upstream in the metaphor he was using, right? The upstream part of it, so that it never got to the point where you had to fix something, which you could
Mm-hmm.
measure. And it was so interesting, listening to this book and how he says a lot of companies are built based on the downstream. I can measure, I can see it, therefore I can put a check mark by it got done versus the other
Mm-hmm.
way, right? Really good
Exactly.
book. You guys ought to get that book, but it really speaks to how you are treating your customers and how that's translating to income.
Right.
That's what I
Right.
like to jump into, is like,
So
what does any of that have to do with money?
So I
Get
got
money for your
I got a
business.
question for you. I got a question for you before we get into the making money piece. That I think, because I think some of the entrepreneurs right now are like, well, I don't know if that's me. I don't know if that's my business, right? So what what are some of the feelings? What are some of the indicators? What are some of the things that you've seen when businesses are not maximizing their customer journey, not maximizing the customer experience? What are some of the indicators from the business owner side, the things that you're feeling, the things that they're seeing? What have you seen that are some of those things, so that they can kind of pull themselves into the conversation and know that
Yeah,
we talking to them?
yeah. I'm talking to you. If here's something, a lot of stuff comes from how I deal with different customers, right, and how
Mm-hmm.
they treat me.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I'm calling on them for business,
Mm-hmm.
do they call back,
Mm-hmm.
right, or do they feel I don't have to?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is, right? I start asking my question, those kind of questions. How you treat the person that's trying to help you with your business is
Mm-hmm.
probably how you're treating your customers, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you say, hey, we're going to start working at a certain time, and you don't give a courtesy call or a follow-up call, I say to myself, I guarantee you they're treating their customers like that, and they don't know that they're losing business because of their own attitudes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the main things I see is, what is your attitude toward your customer? Do you look at them as just the money that you're extracting, or do you look at them as the relationship you're building that's going to bring you income into your business for a long time? So my experience has been, how you treat me, in our initial working togethers,
Mm-hmm.
is probably how you're treating your customers. And I can always tell, Rob, I can always tell a person that is going to have a sustainable business
Mm-hmm.
based on their level and desire to communicate with everybody around them. Well, you've heard the term where when somebody treats people that can't hurt them in a certain way, like, if you go up to the restaurant and the guy's a jerk or the girl's a jerk toward the wait staff, toward the people that work and serve them, right, is probably a good indicator of that person's personality. And if they're
Mm-hmm.
treating them badly, at some point they're going to treat you badly.
There you go. There you go. Right. And so what I'm hearing you say is, how you treat anyone is how you treat everyone.
I
That
believe
sound about
so. I
all
believe
right?
so.
All right.
That's just my personal feeling,
No,
right?
no,
You can try
and
to
I like
turn it
that.
on, but eventually that part of that is going to crack.
And people are going to see it, and it's going to come true, right? And here's the interesting thing about that point that you just made. It normally starts happening as you get more business.
Mm-hmm.
because as you get more business, the stress level, the anxiety level, the spinning plates level of your business starts to increase, right? You're having to run multiple systems and all those different types of things. And so if you're somebody that has felt a little bit of success and you keep kind of going in these ebbs and flows where you get a bunch of customers and then you finish with those customers and now you got to go and get a whole bunch of new customers, and then you finish with those customers and you got to get a whole bunch of new customers, you might want to look at, why is it that you're having to do all of that work to get new customers every time? Why is it that you're not getting a bunch of repeat business? Why is it that you're not getting a bunch of business that's coming from referrals from the customers that you've already serviced, right? And just asking that question is extremely important. And this leads right into what Randy was talking about, which is, how do you make money from having good customer service and having a great customer journey? One of the things that I think is really important is, there's a simple phrase that many of us have heard many times that says, you have not because you ask not, right? So there's some of you all out there that are doing a phenomenal job at taking care of your customers in the moment. And then you're just letting your customer journey end with, I gave you good service. You have to, just like you showed people how to buy your product, you have to also show people how to refer your product, how to recommend your product, how to give good feedback. And if you don't create that opportunity, if you don't make it easy for them to do, then you're relying on those people who are willing to go above and beyond to be the only ones that can refer your business and recommend your business.
That is so, that's so right on time with something that just occurred. I've got this little program that I call, how to turn annoying emails you get into cash in your pocket, right? Mm-hmm. And it dawns on me all the time when I'm reading an email, whether or not that person is going to serve me well. I'm telling you, I can almost smell it, right? Mm-hmm. Here's one that I just got recently. And it's from vidIQ, right? Using it to help your YouTube channel and all that kind of stuff, right? So they sent me a survey. So now we're getting into how do you start that customer care experience, that user experience, whatever it is. If you're in the digital space, that digital experience, that digital user. Mm-hmm. They sent me an email right now. At first, I'm thinking, this is going to be one of those annoying emails. But guess what? They said, here's a survey. Let us know how we did. Mm-hmm. Right now, listen to what we're saying here. Let us know how we did. How many of you are now asking customers to critique you? Mm-hmm. Right? Because that's that point where it's an ego hit sometimes, right? When we go, hey, tell us if we stink. Tell us if we're great. Tell us something. In other words, you're just going out there and being proactive. So get this. I do the survey, right? And I says, you know what? Just based on the fact that when I go to your site, you've got, vidIQ Academy, you've got all these different things that are designed to help me and help my business and help what I'm trying to do. Get this. I fill it out, send it out. They send me an email back and says, we are so happy that you like us. Would you like to be an affiliate for us? That's where the money is. Now, they're saying, if you like us, would you really like to share? Get that. But they asked me first. You get companies that are saying, hey, will you refer us? And you're going, I'm not referring you. I don't think I know you that well yet. Right? It's like a relationship. I don't know if I'm, ready to tell others you might be the one because we just gone on a couple of dates. Whereas if you says, you know what, I really enjoyed this date with so-and-so. It was awesome. Right? And I think this is going to be all right. And then if that person comes back and says, hey, you enjoyed that time together so much. Would you like to, maybe make this exclusive? But it's not based on you sitting over there feeling that way. It's based on what you have asked of them or they have told you the experience was like. Mm-hmm. Right? User experience.
The whole concept of communicating rather than just transmitting.
Service at a high level to the point where it's bringing you cash back. Mm-hmm. That's one of the key things. So like you said, if you're wondering why you're getting these Yelp reviews or whatever that aren't that good, or people aren't coming back, and you're just scratching your head like, hey, we're doing all this marketing. Why isn't it working? Well, you can do marketing on that side, but somebody could be doing some word of mouth marketing on the negative side.
Mm-hmm.
We both experience it. Some of the airlines, guess what, are experiencing it because they got some bad actors on the planes. You hear about it, but then that customer gets off and says, well, let me tell you my experience.
Exactly.
Right? Good, bad, or indifferent. People are now saying, I'm not flying that. I'm not going to say no names, but I'm not flying that airline. Or they go to the other airline and says, yeah, hey man, it was good priced. It was no frill. They got me there in one trip. I'm going back. Ask yourself, is that happening in your business? How are you treating your consumers, your customers, your digital folks, whether you got a digital store? All of that is included. What do you have in place? Is it a tool that you have in place? There's a lot of CRM systems, right? Why do they call it CRM? Customer relation management. They understand that it's needed, and they understand that it could put cash in your pocket, an email, something simple. Now, guess what? I feel good about them now. I was working with the free version. I'm buying the other version now. Something small like that. Took me from just listening into them to now becoming a actual customer that's paying.
Now, something else that you said that I think is really important for people to pay attention to, right? Because this is literally money in your pocket. When you can get information from your customers about what parts of your program best serve them and what parts of your program were unnecessary or didn't serve them, it allows you to provide the same amount of value or even more value for less cost. Because if I just give you the things that you want, then I don't have to provide all the stuff you don't want. It's like I have a couple of restaurant clients that I work with, and one of the things that we do when we look at a restaurant is let's look at your entire menu, and let's look at what are the things that you're making money from, that you're selling like hotcakes, and what are the things that you might sell one or two of them a month.
Yeah, customers don't care about those.
Exactly, because the customers aren't caring about them. Now, here's the interesting thing: the customers aren't caring about them, but you have money tied up in inventory in case they care about them. But because and for my customers, a lot of times what they would be doing is they're not basing that off of data. They're basing that off of, I think that they like this, or, we sell it a couple times a month. And so, there's a couple people that like it. And they're not doing the balance of, is this making us enough money to have our cash tied up in inventory and to then spend the money to make it? And are we making enough money to sell it only one or two times a month? Because there's a bunch of different costs to holding on to stuff, right? The time value of money. Any money that you have in inventory, especially because a lot of restaurant owners don't even have net terms. So if you don't have net terms, right, that means that you have to put the money out and then wait for you to sell it before you can use that money again, right? Now, when you've got net terms, things like that, you can have inventory in, and then you can sell it before you got to pay for it. And so now that cash is cycling a lot faster. But if you don't have net terms, that doesn't exist. You've got to put money out, and now that money is sitting in whatever it may be, whatever, if it's a certain fish dish or a certain chicken dish, or, this dessert that you got a stack of them, right? That money is sitting there, and it can't be used for anything else until you sell all that stuff.
Yeah. Good point.
Using your data and just understanding what and asking, right? Putting surveys out. That survey that vidIQ did was perfect. What are we doing well? What rate our performance? Tell us what's good. Because what that does, you will be amazed at how people will actually give you feedback and say, this thing that you did was amazing. It was exactly what I needed. Now, here's the folly that a lot of people run into. They take one person's feedback and they base their entire business decision off of one person's feedback. Remember, you want to get Exactly. You want to get continual feedback because you want to start finding the clusters of things that your customers are gravitating to.
Yeah.
Because that's where the money is.
Right.
And
Right.
you can remove a lot of that other stuff that is not providing value. And it will save you time, energy, and money. 3 resources for the price of 1.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, starts with the ask. So when you get into the, okay, well, how do I do this? How do I, translate that, what you're hearing now, into the do, right? I think one of the best things you can do is get your customer relation management service up and running as quickly as possible, right? Get a nice and robust one that responds to folks. Rob and I, we used to go back and forth on, what you use. He was like, well, I'm going to try this. And I'm like, well, this one costs more or this one costs less, right? But it's not as robust as another one. That's going to help you. Just being aware that a lot of this stuff can bring cash in your pocket. So obsess over how your customers experience, your customer service is going. Obsess over what your customer thinks.
Exactly.
It could be the difference between you staying in business or losing and going out of business, right? Because if you got a customer that comes along and this just from a relationship standpoint, just imagine if, you're in a relationship and you're being treated okay. And then someone comes along and it appears as if they'll treat you better. Right. And that, male, female side, however that looks, right? Whatever kind of relationship you choose to be in, you get someone that's talking in your ear, suggesting to you that they're going to treat you better, you're going to leave. Right. So if you are in that kind of position and you have something that matters to you, and I assume your business matters to you, it makes you money for your family, it makes money for it's serving folks, then why wouldn't you do everything in your power to make sure that that relationship is not only strong, but that you're doing everything you can to increase it, to strengthen it, so that they tell their friends, their family, that you stay, so that you can stay in business too. That part is so huge that originally when we were kind of thinking about, hey, some of the things that we believe would be of service to our, the people that are listening to us, and we came across this customer service one, I kind of said, because I do so much stuff that's automated, but it opened my eyes to, wait a minute, maybe this is why, when I'm trying to grow, that maybe I'm staying like this because I'm not doing those other parts, because I'm automating it too much. Ask yourself the same thing. Are you automating it too much? I had that experience with a restaurant. You go in and there's nobody to come and take care of you, nobody to give you water anymore. I'm telling you guys, I'm not going back.
Exactly.
I'm just not, because it was efficient. I get it. It's probably saving them a boatload, not having all these people around, but the experience, right? The customer service was not there. And I want to be served because I'm at a restaurant, for goodness sake. Right? This is not me going to, Walmart and doing the self-service, or Meijer doing the self-service, or wherever. It's not me choosing not to have customer service. Right. It is with the expectation. So that adjustment was enough for me to go, I'm taking my little pennies out of here and I'm not coming back. Right. Now I go back to a restaurant the other day. There's a lot of people in town that they may be used to it, and it was packed. Right. They don't need my money.
And that's something that's really important to pay attention to. Your business is not going to appeal to everybody. Right there. And that may have been a calculated risk. They may have said, you know what, the people that want customer service don't spend as much money here as the people that don't want customer service in the official way. The people that spend the money here want speed, want efficiency, want ease of getting food. Right. That was the calculation that McDonald's made. The McDonald's brothers way back in the day realized that what was most important to their customers was being able to get a good meal for a good price in a good amount of time. And they put a lot of the mom and pop diners that were in the town that they were in out of business because of the fact that everybody was like, Why am I going to go sit over here for a half hour to get a burger and fries when I can get a burger and fries in 3 minutes at McDonald's? Right
Yeah.
now,
They want it fast food, right?
exactly. And they created fast food. And the thing about that is, you only know that if you survey your customers. Otherwise, you're just trying stuff and hoping that it works out. But if you actually go and look at who are my customers, who buys from me, what do they want, what do they value, and you become an expert at that, an expert at understanding the value proposition of your customer journey, then what you're able to do is you're able to maximize your revenues for value given, because you're not giving a whole bunch of extraneous stuff that your customers don't even care about.
Yeah. Yeah. And does it take a lot, everyone? You know, not really, right? It just takes enough, just a survey saying, hey, how did it go? Oh, and then noticing when they say something positive and capitalizing on that.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's not a whole bunch of survey questions. Like, we're not talking about, a 50 question survey, like
Right.
2, 3, 5 questions. And you can find out so much information about your service and your product, and why people like you or why people don't like you. Right. And that information is so much power, because it helps you to understand how to apply your talents in the most effective and most cash flow generating way possible.
Yeah. And think about the business model here, right? So now with vidIQ, for example, because they says, and literally it says, since you like us so much, right? Because I gave them 5 stars, 5 out of 5, right? Because I have had a very good user experience while using the free version. Right now, we've talked about this in some other podcasts that we've had, right? That sometimes that giving it away
will get you
comes back. Giving it away comes back. Now, think about what they've done, right? Here's the business model, everybody. And I want you to hear this so that you can apply it for your business. So they say, hey, how did it go? I say, great. They says, well, since it was so great, would you be interested in being an affiliate, right? And you guys know at this point what affiliate is, right? If not, you are able to present and sell other people's products, and they give you a percentage of those sales, right? So I say yes, right? Because that's what I do for a living. You know what I mean? It is I'm now selling their service based on the fact that it was great for me. So I'm going to say cool things to them. And because I use it, when people hear me talk about it, they're going to say, I can tell you like them. Kind of like a relationship, right? I could tell you like them. And get this, they then don't have to spend money in marketing to acquire a customer.
Exactly.
Marketing can be 20 to 30% of your revenue or your costs. If you can reduce that out, you can afford to pay someone else, right? Especially if you know your numbers. And we're not going to dig too much in that and get into lifetime value of customers and all that kind of stuff, right? But it starts with something as simple as asking, do we suck or not? How was it? Oh, it was good. Would you be interested in telling your friends? Not the other way around, how we get it now, right? We get it the other way around now. Hey, would you like to tell your friends about us? Refer us? No, I don't know you well enough. So ask yourself that within your businesses, what do you have in place that helps that customer experience? And like I say, it's called different ways, customer experience, customer journey, user journey, a variety of things that people are calling what happens to the customer after they interact with your business. And then if your business is flat, now this is a key part. People think that marketing is the only thing that saves them. It might just be polling the people that already are working with you and then saying, how did it go? Would you be interested in blank? I guarantee if I gave them 1 star, they're going to be like, not only do we not want you to help sell our services, because you're going to be out there saying bad things. That word of mouth is going to get out there. It wasn't a good experience. So they're not going to send me the invitation. Now, that's the key part. Some of these places send you invitations to be ambassadors, brand ambassadors for them. Right now, we don't want to take you with too many terms or anything like that. we really just wanted to hit on how are you doing with your customer service? Are
Yep.
you turning that into income for your business or cash in your pocket, like I like to say?
Yeah. So
Are
so
you
so
doing it?
so for those of you all that are out there, one of the things that we want you to do, again, we love feedback from you. Talk to us about your customer experiences, your customer journeys, the good experiences that you've had with businesses that have earned your business, that have made you kind of brand ambassadors, that have made you raving fans, and talk to us about what you're doing in your business to implement these things. What CRM are you using? When are you sending your people? When are you sending, are you sending birthday updates and anniversary updates? And are you sending out surveys monthly, quarterly, yearly to your existing customers? What are you doing to create raving fans of your business? We want to hear about it. Put it in the comments below. We want to know how the community is out there doing it. Because remember, this is a community where we're trying to not just give you what we're thinking, but also allow you all to bounce ideas off of each other so that we can all grow.
And you, of course, you can always tell us if we're doing a good job.
Definitely.
Right? We welcome you being able to ask us questions about this stuff, right? Engaging with us and saying, hey guys, you know what? I'd like to talk about something else now, right? But we're looking at these things that we know bring revenue to your business, but get overlooked.
Exactly.
Right. And this is when we mastermind on some of the, we can mastermind high level, but we like to be able to cover as much space as possible from the startup, right, to that small business that's making a lot of money, right? If you're not paying attention to these small things, that becomes the leak, right? The hole that can cause the leak that can eventually sink your ship, right? Your financial ship.
Yeah. So on that point, if you feel like the information that we have given you thus far about raving fans and creating a customer experience and a customer journey that can make you money, go ahead and pound that thumbs up button. Go ahead and give us a bunch of thumbs up. And if there's something that you feel like we missed on or whatever, go ahead and put a thumbs down. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know what you're feeling. Because as we just talked to you about, feedback is the key thing. It's not just about what we transmit, but we want to get your feedback on that as well.
Yeah. And, we didn't dig too much into this, right? Because we could have came up and started suggesting CRMs and all of that kind of stuff. But first, before doing all that, we literally wanted to ask you, what's already happening? What have you noticed? Do you even have something like that? So you can start investigating and looking into your business and asking those deeper questions right now. Now, Rob, you said you were working with your team, right? Your team of folks just on that subject, or is it in a different space?
Just on customer journey, right? We have a couple of different products. And when we go into looking at marketing, before we even start putting anything out, I take my team through and I say, okay, let's look at what it looks like for a customer to walk through this entire journey, right? Because there's certain products, certain things that we do, certain experiences that we give our customers that are 12 to 15 months long, right? It's not just, we have a 3-month coaching program and we have a couple of things here and we have a book and we have these different things, but oftentimes we're looking at 12 months to a year and a half. And in that space, what is happening in the person's life over the course of getting to know us, of actually purchasing and becoming a Thrive Tribe member? What are the things that happen and how can we maximize that experience so that we create raving fans, right? And funny little story, this book was actually sent to me by one of my clients who was surprised that I hadn't read it, because she was like, well, this is what you do, so you need to read this book because it's amazing. And I was like, oh, well, great. And so she sent it to me as a gift for saying, thank you for giving me such a great experience. And it blew my mind and completely revolutionized how intentionally I began to do what we had done that had given her such a great customer journey and customer experience.
I tell you, we should, and I want the two of us, man, to take some time. We're going to do a live. I think if we can commit to this, we've got busy schedules right now, but if we can commit to maybe doing a live just so you guys can send us feedback live, I think that might be a benefit. It's one way that we can do our reach out, right? That we can do the, tell us what you think live so we can answer those questions right there, or tell us what areas you want us to go into, or tell us what hey, you know what? I didn't like Randy's haircut that week, or you know what I mean? When he put those glasses on, it just shined in my face. Whatever it is, because we want to give you, when we're doing these masterminds, we want to give you the best experience possible. Right. And if you notice, we have products and stuff like that, and we're affiliates and we show stuff. If you look in the description field, there's things you can click on, right, that we think will enhance your business, that we think that will enhance your experience, but in the meantime, we want to be of best value to you. Right. And if that means you rather do something quick, live, in a live setting, we're all for it. You know what I mean? If I can talk my co-host into loosening up that schedule of his, I'm on a timer right now. I mean, but that's a part of it, right? That becomes our opportunity to have a different kind of conversation with you. And if you, I think, care about your business enough, you'll do some of the things that we talk about all the time, something like this. And I can tell you, hey, I'll give you some numbers. When I was looking up whether or not we should even talk about this, I found that over 110,000 people search for customer service related things a month. 110,000. Right now, to me, that's interesting. Right. And that's an opportunity. If you're in the digital space, that's an opportunity. If you're in the content creation space, that's an opportunity, because that tells you that people are out there typing into Google stuff related to customer service, customer care, user experience, all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. Can you see what's possible here from a problem that people are searching for to your solving that problem? Could be a whole business model.
Exactly. And so in acting, we're not just about talking, we're not just about information, but transformational education. So in acting, what we were just talking about, here's what we will do. In the comments down below, we need to hear 50 people say, yes, interested in doing that live. You give us 50 comments, we get to 50 comments, and we'll go ahead and do a live, and we'll make that happen. So give us the feedback that tells us that the live is what you want, and we will make it happen for you. But we want to see 50 of you all in there, and we want to get 50 more subscribers to the channel. So put a comment in and subscribe to the channel, and we can make it happen.
Yeah, we've done our call out now, right? We've done our call to action, because Rob and I, we spend a lot of time when we are deciding and determining what to talk about next, right? And we want to only talk about things, as Rob says, things that are transformational. Is what we're doing, how we're educating you, giving you that outcome, that quantified outcome, right? That transformation. That's all we care about, is getting on talking. Well, you know what? Who wants to do that? Getting on talking, and you can literally hear 50 people say, that helped. Thank you very much for that. That's the kind of stuff that keeps us going, right? That keeps us getting up on our days and taking our hour to do this stuff, right? So we do this in service of you and your business's ability to do well, do a good book of business. That's what we want to continue to do. But we need you to tell us if we're on the right track or not.
There we go. Right. And so I'll leave you all today with this quote from one of my favorite people who has ever walked the face of the earth, Mr. Zig Ziglar. And he said it this way: you can get whatever you want if you help enough other people get what they want. Your ability to create raving fans is all about your understanding of how to get other people what they want. One of the big keys to that is getting feedback, is making sure that you understand what people want. And who better to tell you than somebody who you've already serviced, who you've already made happy, because they're the best person to give you that feedback. So take that with you. Hopefully that what we've done today, edifies you, gives you something that you can take this week, implement, and make your business better and make you some money.
Look into that customer experience and customer service, because it's the difference. It can be the difference between you staying in business or going out of business. All right, guys, we will talk to you next week. And in the meantime, send us those comments and we'll go from there.
Talk to you soon.